Hello, this is KiwaniTalk. I'm Ray Scaboria. I'll be the host for this evening's program. We're back at Dearborn High. We're so happy to be here. It's been 2 years, but we're enjoying being back at our original location. And our guest today is Ramana Roberson. Ramana is the Executive Director of Child's Hope. And we're going to talk a little bit about starting with a little bit about your background, Ramana.
Sure. Well, hello, everyone. I am Ramana Roberson. I married 4 children, and I was sharing that years ago I'm a numbers person, so I started my schooling in Detroit, and I went into accounting because I thought I wanted to do numbers. And so once that I got into the field, my second oldest was having difficulty in school. And I had talked to my boss and I said, I think I need to take time with him. So he was great about it. They gave me a little nice send away and everything. And I, during that time, decided to go back to school. And I had the associates in accounting at the time, but I decided that I wanted to do social work because that to me was more fulfilling. And I ended up going to Madonna University, is where I earned my bachelor's degree. And then I went to Wayne State University. That's where I earned my master's degree in social work. So I've been doing this work for quite some time. Did a lot of volunteering when I had little ones. I always believed that you should volunteer in the school. And so with that, it kind of led me. It was the networking that happened during that volunteer that kind of led me into the nonprofit world.
Just for an example,
Yeah.
give me a couple of the kind of volunteering things that you were exposed to back then.
So at that time, my children were very young. So it started with the Head Start programs they were involved in.
Head Start, yeah.
Head Start. So
Yeah.
they have that parent committee
Yeah.
that they require you to be a part of for the sake of funding. And so that's where it started, was volunteering in the Head Start classrooms. And then I learned about Great Start Collaborative in Wayne County, which is a state initiative. And so it was through there that I became a parent representative working with them. So luckily, soon as I was graduating with the master's degree, the position came available for the parent liaison at Great Start.
Yeah.
So that's
Ramana,
where I started.
I want to
Sure.
ask a couple questions about Head Start and or Great Start.
Sure.
I know there's programs like where people are recruited to read to children. So is that an area that they would be involved in?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well,
So
Head Start, they do some everything.
Yeah. So it's volunteers supplementing the teachers.
Absolutely. So it's volunteering in the classroom. It's helping with breakfast, lunch. It's reading to the children, doing those activities. It's cleaning the classroom. It's whatever that helps to supplement the things they need around there.
It's just that at my age, I've been away from it a little too long.
It's okay. It's okay. I understand.
So now you were going on to say that you wanted to get more involved in social work. So I kind of interrupted you. So forgive me.
No. So I did. I went into social work. They have 2 parts to social work. There's a micro focus and there's a macro. I felt that my life was the micro, honestly, because the micro is more of an individual, and I've always been the go-to when people are having difficulties in the families and friends. And so I said, you know what? We need to tackle the issues at a little larger ground. So I went into macro practice, which is more of the state, local governments. So that's why I did that. And so it was through that, working with the communities, anything doing with the community, that's what I wanted to do more of than paperwork.
I see.
I wanted to be out there. So, yeah.
When did you start working for Child's Hope?
Oh boy, let's see. So I have to start with volunteering.
Sure. That's
so
cool.
I volunteered first with Great Start in 2007, I believe it was. And I stepped into the role of parent liaison in 2010. And so I was with them for a long time. Oh gosh, about 6, 7 years. I was with Great Start. Before I had a small time at United Way. I did some early childhood work. I helped child care providers that were having child care in their homes. So the home care providers, I worked with them for a short period of time, about a couple of years before going to Child's Hope.
You know, that's an interesting question, and
Yeah.
I've not heard it answered before. But there's a number of families that decide to homeschool.
Yeah.
So you interact with them?
Yes.
Okay.
Make sure they get the resources they needed.
Because homeschooling's that's a challenge, you know, to give a child good education.
And they need all the help they can get.
Yeah, I can imagine that.
Yes, absolutely. But it was what made that job tough was the trust. You really had to build relationships with those caregivers because they weren't.
That's part of the reason they're homeschooling.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So they weren't too fond of folk coming in their homes, but it was about their relationship. And if you can fill a need, that's what helped.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
So in parent liaison, or not volunteer liaison, I said it wrong.
No, it's parent liaison
Oh, it
with
is
Great
parent
Start.
liaison. Okay.
With Great Start, it was a parent liaison.
Okay.
Yeah, I started volunteering, but when I started working for them, I became the parent liaison.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're interacting with the parents. Are most of these parents that are homeschooling?
Well, they were all types of parents. It didn't matter, as long as they were residents of Wayne County.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Fun.
now, how would people would they call up for assistance? They would. How would you get initial contact, say, with a?
So yes and no. So Great Start Collaborative was very similar to what Child's Hope does, as far as collaborative work. So Great Start was more of bringing everyone at the table that served families, and that parent voice that the parent liaison was over. They the ones that took that I was that in between that took that information to that bigger body and said, this is what the parents are saying. This is what the parent needs are right now. So, you know, that's more of what that work was. And those parents that were involved were able to get help that way because they were connected. Very rare do you have someone calling in Great Start for help. Very rare. But they do, I believe now, have a resource guide of all those collaborative partners that they can contact those providers directly.
Well, it sounds like the parent liaison maybe got a phone number and a name, and they say you maybe should help this person out, or call them and see if they want some help. Would leads come to you like that?
No.
Okay.
It actually would not. It was more of, we know a parent that should get involved. We know a parent that's been real good in the school. Our coalition is what I oversaw, was the parent coalition. The coalition was more of parent leaders, those that have proven themselves to be leaders in their child's school or whatever. They were very involved, so that's how they became involved. So our reach, those things that we tried to do to help the greater community through those parents that stayed in the different communities.
Because they were the source of the information where the help was needed.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And was it by individual student? I mean, was this aimed at certain students that needed the help more than others?
Well, we're talking about Wayne County.
Okay.
So to be honest, most of the families needed help. But we did. We were very, I would say that the parents that were a part of the coalition, it was very diverse. We had parents from all different cities within Wayne County, and we've had those that had children with disabilities, whether they were physical or cognitive, or you name it. And we had your regular student that just needed a little bit more. So that's why most of those parent leaders were involved, because those was parents that had challenges with their children, and they chose, just like me, when I said with my son that I needed to step away from that accounting work for a minute and say, my son needs me right now.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. And I sat in the back of his classroom for week after week, and just to understand myself, to see it was okay to have the meeting and have the teacher tell you, this is going on, but something about being in there yourself and to see what's going on. And that helped me on what I should do when I got home with my son to help him be better. They told me my son probably wouldn't graduate. It was so many things that they said about my son. And I'm going to tell you now, my son is doing great. I think he's 25 now, has a wonderful job he's been at for many years, great paying job, must I say. And he always said when he was little, I want a Mustang. I'm gonna get me a Mustang. His first car was a Mustang. He, I was just that parent that said, I hear you, thank you. Thank you for that information, but no. So
Education's such a difficult area, because there are children that just seem everything comes to them easily, and then there's late bloomers. It takes a little while till things start to gel for them. And very often they catch up great later on, but right in the early years, it can be a struggle for some children.
Yeah. Well, that's my approach. Every child is different.
Yeah.
You cannot just say, this is the curriculum, teach it to every child this way, and it goes. That doesn't work.
Well, now let's go on to Child's Hope now.
Sure.
You started with Child's Hope.
So I actually learned about Child's Hope while I was with Great Start.
That's right. You were, and so you started with them. When did you start with Child's Hope?
So I actually started working as the executive director in 2019.
Okay.
Okay, and but I met them, like I said, back in 2010 when I stepped into the parent liaison role. So I had known them for quite some time and had a great relationship with them. But I almost forgot. I actually was a board member before I became executive director. I almost forgot that. But yes, I served as a board member for 3 years.
Okay.
With Child's Hope first.
Okay. Now you're the executive director.
Yes.
That's right. And where do you actually work from?
The University of Michigan Dearborn location.
Okay, so you actually
Hubbard Drive. We have an office there.
You have an office there.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we have an office. They're so kind to give us a space. And so yes, it's an in-kind, through the university.
That's it.
Yeah.
Now, do you interact with anyone at the university?
Absolutely. One of the things I've learned about nonprofit world is that it's a small world. Someone knows someone and it goes on. And just so happened, the current dean was my professor when I was pursuing my bachelor's in social work in Madonna. She's the dean there now. And so she and I talk all the time, and we talk about getting volunteers from the students that need internship hours and volunteer, all of that. So we do a lot with the university.
Can you provide internships for students?
We do.
No,
we do. We operate at our best because of volunteers.
Yes. Well, the areas that you're working in, are best filled by people that want to do that kind of work.
Absolutely.
And they want to be
Absolutely.
volunteers.
Absolutely. It makes a difference.
Yeah, just like we want to be volunteers to do a talk show. Ramana, we're going to take a little break for about a minute.
Okay.
We do have a little commercial for Kiwanis.
Sure.
And join us right after that. We're here talking with Ramana Roberson from Child's Hope.
It's easy to get caught up in the details. The day-to-day grind, numb to the noise, going round and round and round. Deep down, there's something missing, a void inside, a hole to fill, a life lacking. Then, in a minute of clarity, it hits you. The aha moment. You're needed. kids need you. Kids of all kinds. All these funny, rambunctious, sweet, attention-seeking, vulnerable bundles of energy. They need your love and support. Some have huge life hurdles. Poverty, disease, hunger. And they're reaching out for you. Around the corner, around the world. You are a Kiwanian at heart, a role model, a guide, a builder of dreams. Together, we are Kiwanis, passionate and strong, ready to move mountains or grains of sand. Imagine every child reaching their potential. The power to help is in you. It's not about us. It's about them. Do you hear the call? Kids need Kiwanis. Kiwanis needs you.
Hello, we're on KiwaniTalk here. We're here with Ramana Roberson, who's the Executive Director of Child's Hope. Ramana, it's nice to have you here with us this evening.
Thank you for inviting me.
Now, before the break, we were talking a little bit about how you evolved into the job you have at Child's Hope, and how many interactions you had that led you to that position.
Oh gosh. Well, as I mentioned, I forgot to say, was that, I was a board member, and it was as a board member, again, that volunteering, that folk got to know me. And it was weird because I literally was in transition mode, just wanting to do something different, just in that mode of feeling, got to be more to this, it got to be more. And just so happened, I received a call from the president at that time that said, hey, got to ask you a question, and would you be interested? And I said, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm one, I won't do it unless, my heart is there, and unless I'm a commit. And like I said, I was a board member first. And I believe in the work, and I believe that prevention is about prevention, not waiting until something happens. Let's do something before it happens. So, yeah.
So you were saying that your office there at the U of M Dearborn,
yes,
you've interacted with a number of people there,
yes,
on the campus, and that you actually have volunteers that are students getting, what do we call it?
Service hours.
Service hours,
yeah.
Yes,
so they, we actually we have a program called, what it used to be called Read to Me. And we changed it to Talk with Me because I wanted folks to know, we're promoting conversations. And it was a mentorship program, so we didn't want people to get the idea that we were just reading to children, but it was actually a conversation going on about the stories that they were sharing together. So we changed it to Talk with Me, and the coordinator is actually an adjunct faculty of University of Michigan, Dearborn. And so it was students that went through her class that became mentors for the program. And so this last year, we've been able to connect with a group called Girls. I cannot remember what the acronym stands for, but that's another volunteer group. And their mission is more on about girls, self-care, and things of that nature. And they were looking for mentorship opportunities, and so they connected with us as well. So many organizations within the university we've been able to partner with to help serve the young ones, as we call them.
So when you partner, you're trying to connect the service personnel and volunteers to the groups that need the assistance.
Yes. So the group that needs the assistance are actually students that are in. Well, when I first started, it was Dearborn schools. So there were a number of schools in the area where we held the program, we're funded through PNC for that particular program, and PNC, as some of you may know, has a passion for early childhood. So we worked with...
Tell me what PNC stands for.
PNC, well, I have no idea. The PNC Bank.
PNC Bank, okay.
Yes, that's all I remember.
Okay, that's good enough.
Yes, so PNC Bank, they fund us, and they have an early childhood initiative called Grow Up Great. So the program had to be for preschoolers or kindergarten students. So those are the ones that we worked with in various schools in the Dearborn area. So the internship, we'll get their schedules together, and they'll go for an hour or so and mentor the children once a week. And for about 15, 16 weeks, they would interact with these children, then have a big family gathering at the end of the program. Very great program in partnership with the university. So we connected with a lot of schools in the Dearborn area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're connected with schools in Dearborn, but not necessarily limited to Dearborn only.
No, we are not limited. And actually, when the pandemic hit, we were able to go virtual. Going virtual helped us to expand. So we had children from everywhere in the program.
To me, the virtual business has got to be a huge trial
for
all educators.
Oh boy, it was the first time, and imagine 4-year-olds doing doing a virtual program, but it was so engaging for them. For safety reasons, we recorded them in our review, to make sure everything was done properly. But I'm telling you, sometimes I got teary-eyed watching the sessions.
Ramana, I have to tell you today, I was sitting in, we have a picture window, and across the street there's a family, and they have an older child's about 7, and the younger child's about 4.
Okay.
And the girl's 4. And she comes out of the house with her mother, and she never looked up. She had an electronic device in front of her face.
Yes.
And she watched it all the way down until she didn't fall over, but until she got to the car door, And it's a little different than it used to be.
It's very different. And I think that's one of the things that the realities that Child's Hope came to when I stepped in, because again, they had been around for 37 years, and there's a way they've done things. You in a place, and this is the way we've been doing things, and it's hard to change. Change is hard for some people. And we had a lot of people on the board that had been there from the start.
Yeah.
From the start, our current president has been there the longest. She's been there since the start. And so, when I came in there with my bright, brand new ideas, they were, oh boy, okay. And it was amazing to me, because I would get the emails and the calls that would say, you know what, you were right. Thank you so much. So that's a lot of what's been happening in the first 2 years of my position there with Child's Hope. A lot of that.
Yeah. It sounds like your job's an awful lot of coordination of
different
groups. Some are groups being served, some are people that provide the service.
Oh yeah.
And the connections, and of course you've been obviously been faced with the whole issue of COVID, because everything had to pretty much go virtual.
Yes.
In what you were doing, an awful lot of it.
Absolutely, and it was. I'm telling you, it was amazing. I came at the right time, because before the pandemic, the news of it got out, I had introduced them to Zoom.
Yeah.
And oh boy, they did not. We believe in the getting together, and I'm like, I feel you, I understand. But what was happening at the time, folks were really on an overload, and it was hard for them to get to the university for the meetings. And so we wouldn't always meet the quorum to make decisions. So I said, we need to really implement something that people can jump on, whether they're on the way, whether they, can't do anything but Zoom. We have to do something. So I implemented Zoom just before the pandemic hit.
That was the right time.
Let me tell you, it was just in the nick of time. So yeah, it's a lot of changes.
Yeah. Well, actually, our Kiwanis Club, we did actually meet we were one of the few clubs that met pretty regularly by Zoom.
Yes, yes, absolutely. I remember, absolutely.
Yeah. Now, tell me how you see things going in the future for Child's Hope.
Well, We revisited our mission last year. We had a very good talk, and I wanted them to really talk about what are we really trying to do outside of preventing child abuse and neglect. You know, how do we do this? I need it to say it in the mission. And so the big thing has been building those collaborations and the partnerships. For Child's Hope to have been around as long as it had been, there were many new organizations that had no idea who we were. And so that's been my mission, is to get out there and say, you know what, we got there's too many people that's doing like work and we should be working with. So where I see Child's Hope is being so connected in the community that the service just flows. You know, our families are receiving the service that they need, and the children our theme is it shouldn't hurt to be a child. Yeah. And that's where we stand, is that it shouldn't be that way. And so that's our goal, is to, you know, eliminate it.
Yeah. Now, some of the children you serve, are they come from what do I call them? Families that are just split up and so on.
So again, being a primary prevention collaborative organization, we work with all children. We may work with organizations that have a target audience, but not Child's Hope. Child's Hope, all children.
Oh.
All children, yeah. So it's not that they necessarily have an issue. Now, the only time we would get to a point where we're saying that it's children that really have something going on is through the Talk With Me program. Because in order to be in that preschool classroom, there has to be an income. You know, they're considered low income and things of that nature. So they're at risk. So that's the only thing connected to Child's Hope that really targets a specific age group, population rather.
Well, we're getting pretty short here. We're just about the end of our time, Ramana.
I'm having fun.
I want to thank you for coming on KiwaniTalk.
Thank you.
It's nice to hear about your service to the community.
Yes,
we
thank you.
That.
Thank you.
And I think we're about out of time. Join us on KiwaniTalk again soon.
Awesome. Thank you.